Hey guys, it's Senkai no Mi, and today we show you the deck profile of our player Jan Birkemeyer. He played Law at the Online Regional and managed to get 5th place there. Yeah, Jan.
Yeah, hey guys, it's Jan Birkemeyer, aka Skip. This Saturday I finished 5th place, going 8-1. I took my loss in round 6 in a mirror match, but I'll go into the matchups round by round in a bit. I'll show you my deck profile first. So I'll go through the searches one by one and displaying the number of search targets, because especially in a Swiss format, I think where there's no top cut, I think it's extremely important to just achieve the highest consistency possible that your deck can get to, and especially with Law, which has such a high ceiling if your deck gets to do what it wants to do. So this OPO format is kind of different to OPO 3 because with Zoro being on the decline in popularity, as Law we can afford to not run Vista as a playset anymore, which most people did, and Vista is a card that took up slots that weren't searchable, so that gives us a lot more consistency. So yeah, let's get into the cards. Of course we have 4 Bonnie, searches the most crucial cards of our deck, 3 Batch, 4 Blocker Law, and 4 Restand Law. So these are the green targets, of course. We max out on all of these except Badge, because Badge unfortunately cannot be hit by our other searchers, and we have to make some cuts. I would gladly put this to 4, but we just don't have the room for it. It's great against Katakuri, and I think these are pretty self-explanatory for the most part, and Bonnie can also search some Straw Hats, so these are even more value because they just fulfill a double search roles because they're Supernova and Straw Hats. And yeah, just talking about these cards for a sec, we are able to go. Some games you see a lot of red cards because your Namis and your Dadans are really crucial to your early game. So most of the time I mulligan for those, and if you tend to go for those red early game cards, it can happen that you don't draw into your Bonnies or your Trafalgar Laws early naturally. So some games you have to go extremely aggressive, and especially these Zoro on 4, I see some people going to like 3 Rush Zoro, 1 Starter Zoro, or even 2 Starter Zoro, and this card is just way too good. Like turns where you can Otama and then combo into Rush Zoro to swing into something very efficiently, and yeah, just going aggro with this as well in all these control matchups like Queen, Crocodile. Rebecca is sort of a case by case, but it's just good in every single matchup, to be fair. Whitebeard being a possible exception, but as you will see further down the road, we have starter deck Nami, which also enables Rush Zoro to be good against Whitebeard in some cases. And yeah, Rush Luffy is probably the MVP of the weekend, I would say. He's insanely good in the meta, he's extremely good in the mirror match. I think there's not a single matchup that he's bad against. There's so many blockers, like Queen has blockers, Crocodile has blockers, the mirror match has blockers, Whitebeard has blockers, Katakuri not so much, but that matchup is just inherently favorable for us. And he's also good against Zoro because you can start to apply pressure yourselves, which in a situation where you're not gonna last too long, it can turn into a race very quickly, and just having something that can attack right away is very crucial.
Yeah, I share your thoughts about Rush Ruffy, because it's also nice to have the combo with the Restand Law.
Yeah.
If you want to go for game to swing 2 times with the big buddies that can't be blocked.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just great.
And especially in the mirror match and the Whitebeard mashup, like I played 2 Whitebeards in the Swiss, and against both of those, if you get to a position where you can, like you defend pretty aggressively against Whitebeard, your life. So you ditch some 2Ks against the 6K swings early, so that you can afford to do a turn where you shamble into Rush Luffy and just don't attack with him, and you time it so that they won't be able to just play aggressively without dying next turn, because you're just gonna go like 14k swings unblockable twice into the leader. Nami, obviously, crucial part of the deck. These searchers are basically the essence of Law, because they allow us to keep flooding the board and keep using our broken leader ability without running out of cards in hand. Like, you will have a full board with strong attackers and still have like 7, 8, 9, 10 cards in hand. Yeah. Chopper, double search target, 1-cost blockers are amazing. Brook as a 2k counter is also incredibly amazing. I've seen people cut this in favor of Sanji. Sanji's great, but I think he's more specific. Like, Brook is good in every single matchup because he allows you to fill up your board basically without paying any Dawn in those turns where you go for restand loss. So if I just have like 3 characters on board, I can go Brook, starter deck Nami, and attach all my rested Dawn to Luffy, and basically I didn't spend any mana to play these cards.
Yeah, I think Law is the only deck that in that Brook is very good.
Yeah.
Because it can handle good with its effect, and if you play Brook in Zorro, you just play him and give a character 2 rested Dons, okay, but you also play him for 2 Dons, and on the board it's not the craziest buddy, but in Law you have the ability to shamble it back to your hand, gain a 2k counter, and just got free value.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also a 3k body, which is like not irrelevant at all. Like, so often your Dadans and your Brooks will just swing for 5 and give you like a card or even take a life in some scenarios, because Law is very good at swinging 5 a lot and draining your opponent's 1k counters. So eventually they'll have to start ditching 2ks, and there's actually a lot of decks that are pretty short on 1k counters, so you can get to those 2ks very quickly, and yeah, they will start to not want to ditch a 2k, and then you get life and you get to kill them, so that's also pretty good. Next we have this like new sort of OPE4 edition, which is the Sanji. It just increases, like this sort of takes up the Vista spot, it increases your consistency. You get to cut Makinos for this down, so yeah, it's sort of traded off, you have more Straw Hat targets. But by cutting Makino, we have to fill up the Dadan slots again, so we get to play starter deck Nami for that, which is also a very nice trade-off because she's extremely broken in a lot of matchups. And Sanji's super good against like Queen. It can be extremely good against Katakuri as well, because it just allows you to go down to 0 really quickly and deny them all their Big Mom value. Yeah, I actually did this in round 9. I was on my 6th Dawn turn, I was down to 0 life because I just activated Sanji and took all the attacks he did at me. So that was extremely valuable because my entire hand was flooded with cards. I was able to put down blockers, and that game ended extremely quickly because I had like, it was sort of a Whitebeard-esque style of play, because I just take all my life and have this book of cards in my hand, and I have all the options I need because I drew so many cards. And also round 1 I played him against Queen, and yeah, he's obviously phenomenal in that matchup as well. And I didn't play any Rebecca, but he's also really good against Rebecca, who doesn't want to attack your life. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your thoughts. Back to Katakuri as your opponent. I like this card too, because some Katakuri players decide to not take your life in order to don't give you a card advantage. And then you can just pick up the cards with Sanji and swing for 7. Yeah. So you get his cards, you get your cards. It's just insane. Yeah, very good decision to play this card.
Yeah, I agree. I run 1 Radical Beam. I'm not entirely fond of this card, to be fair. Like I've seen many people even run 1 Rad Beam and 1 Guard Point. Law wants to be very proactive, and every card that's not a character sort of, in some spot it could be like, oh my god, if this Rad Beam was like a 1-cost or 2-cost character, I could be shambling right now, but because it's not, you might not be able to. But yeah, 1-cost for a 4k counter event is just really good as well. It came up once, I think, but yeah, to me this isn't a must-have in the deck, but it's also a Straw Hat target, and yeah, some defense doesn't hurt for sure. Next up we have Dadan, obviously another essential part to the deck. It's a searcher that can search another unplay searcher, which is kind of busted. And 3k body as well, swings for 5 really easily. The card is just absolutely insane, and these are pretty much what you're looking for in your mulligan most of the time. In my opinion, it's more crucial to have these than to have these, because you can play Zoro basically without the leader effect and still win games against control decks by just going really fast and swinging 5 a lot. And then you only need to draw into like one restand and suddenly the Zoro you had goes for game. We also have Otama, of course. It just synergizes extremely well with the concept of the deck. Like, you play tempo, you play for board, and you make really efficient attacks. This allows your Dadans and your Namis and your Brooks to swing into previously 5k or 6k bodies without a lot of investment. And yeah, on top of that, it's a searchable 2k, so what's not to love? We have 4 starter deck Nami, also like a pretty, I mean, it's been creeping up ever since OPE 2, but people have been catching up to how good this card really is. Just perpetual value that you get from a 1 cost, like you put it on the board turn 1 or turn 2, and it just generates value every turn, especially with Rush Luffy or just like double swings in general. It's extremely powerful.
And it's also very nice against Whitebeard because it enables that your leader is always at 6.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can swing on his leader and take a card for free.
Yeah, this makes the Whitebeard matchup a lot more manageable. And lastly, we have Makino as a one-off. It's just another 2K Dadan target, and Law is a toolbox, and I think this is a piece of the toolbox. I didn't play it actually, but yeah, this is these are, in my opinion, the flex spots, so to say. Some people run like 4-cost Brooks and more starter deck Zoros, but I was trying to go for like just extreme consistency and power, so I wanted to do the same thing every single game, and I think this deck is pretty well catered to do that. Yeah, that's sort of the deck list in itself. You can see we have 18 Straw Hat targets actually, which is a lot more than we were able to run last set, which like I tried to get a lot of Straw Hat targets, but last set I was at like 15 or something, and Bielefeld Regional rounds 2 and 3 I just whiffed with Nami, and that led to me losing the game. I think on Saturday I didn't whiff Nami a single time. Like, I whiffed Dada and Bonnie a couple of times, but Nami didn't whiff once. That's obviously like luck as well, so I had a good day for sure, but those targets, they matter, and Dadan is at 16 targets and Bonnie is at 20 targets, I think, so just very consistent numbers all around. And yeah, regarding my matchups, round 1 I faced the Queen actually. I think Law's Queen's worst matchup probably, and I saw the Sanji, like my turn 1, I went second. He actually won the dice roll and he chose to go first, and I just had turn 1 Sanji, and I just took all my life, and he played a pound and stuff like that and put stuff back to my life, but it just didn't matter. I was just too fast. I think he didn't really draw too well as well. His 8 Dawn turn was like only attach Dawn to his leader and Perona and swing, so that was fairly easy. Round 2 was a Katakuri that was also pretty smooth. I don't recall that game too much. I knew I had to go first, but I remember that I had to go first. But other than that, it wasn't too eventful. Round 3 was a Crocodile. That game was also pretty smooth. I would have won, we played it out in the end, but my opponent's webcam actually disconnected at the end, so that was kind of unfortunate. And yeah, so that was round 3. Round 4 I played a Whitebeard. I saw Starter Nami, I had to go first though, but yeah, I just had a pretty good curve and was able to apply a lot of pressure, so he was at 0 when he went to 0 when I had a Luffy out on board already, and then I just went for a restand and kill him. Next round was another Whitebeard, and I was able to go second this time, so that was pretty much the same story. Yeah, that was round 5. Then round 6 I played a mirror match, and I actually won the dice roll and went second, and I had a better opener. So I'm not sure to this day, but I think I could have won that game. There was a spot where we were both at one life, and he had like he was playing the Film Chopper 2K, which is actually interesting, and I had like a badge and a blocker law on board, and I could have shambled into a rush Luffy and not attacked with it, and I had a restand law in hand, so next turn I would have been able to go for game. But I was sort of scared for dying myself because he could have just like rested my badge with the chopper, and I would only have the blocker laws as a line of defense. And he had a he had a Film Brook, starter deck Zoro, and some other 5k attacker. So I went for another blocker law myself, and he just ended up outvaluing me because he had like more 5k bodies than me, and I just had like small blockers. So I think I missed an opportunity in that game. Round 7, let me think. Round 7 might have been a Zoro. Yeah, round 7 was a Zoro. I drew really poorly that game, and I had to go second. No, yeah, I was allowed to go second, but I drew really poorly, and I only won because he was like starved for counters. I was able to go like in the last turn. He had like 2 life, and I had 3 attacks, and I just went like 5, 5, and 14, and he just took the 5s, and yeah, that was pretty lucky, I think. We talked about it, and he had some other line because he discarded a Makino in a turn earlier, and if he had kept that Makino and ditched the Dadan instead, he could have gone for game. My hand was like 2k counters only, so I might have been able to live, but yeah, that was pretty lucky to win that one. Against the Zoro, then round 8 was actually another mirror match, extremely close, but I did manage to win that one, finding a Rush Luffy in the last round with Bonnie, and then I ended up making like 7-7, 7-9 swings, and he just couldn't defend all of it because he was pretty low on cards. And last round was a Katakuri, which I told you about. I played a Sanji early and just took all my life, played some blockers, and yeah, I won that game as well, pretty smoothly. So yeah, that was my tournament. Ended up 5th place, and
yeah, congratulations for that, Jan, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and your impressions.
Gladly.
I hope to see you next week when you win the next
again,
regional. Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Two more regionals in the next 2 weeks, so we'll see if we can get another top or maybe even a win.
I think so.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.